Hey guys, here. Wait, fuck. Hey guys, here. Hey guys, here is Nextrus.
Nice comeback, smooth.
I am a smoothed on like that.
Hi guys,
Serve
how's
me
it
on
going?
toast. Anything you want, it's all good.
Yep.
Anyway, guys, today we're talking about conspiracy theories.
Yep.
Am I God? All that kind of shit, you know.
The most
Great.
hotly debated conspiracy theory of 2014 is Lewis Graves, in fact, our Lord and Saviour.
Yeah, of course. And the answer is yes.
Okay, that's not a conspiracy
It's not,
then.
it's not even a conspiracy theory.
It's just a fact. Do you know which way to go? I think just follow me.
Alright. Anyway, you have to kick off because it's your topic.
So, should we start at like one of the most like hotly talked about ones, one of the most controversial ones, I guess.
It's getting hot.
It's getting hot in there.
It's getting hot. Is this the map?
I think so, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's got the two platforms in it, so we can have one each. So the moon landing
Okay.
was
This is the only one I know shit about.
okay, fair enough. So the basic theory that the conspiracists argue is that the
Don't give them a name like that is just solely belonging to them. Call them idiots, okay?
it's a synonymous. They mean the same thing, surely. But yeah, the argument is that the moon landing, the American moon landing, never actually happened, and that it was all staged and sort of created in a
But what
studio.
Other than like publicity or whatever?
Say again?
What would be the point other than publicity? And if it was for like attention and
Well,
money and shit, wouldn't Russia just be like they faked it?
Well, partly that, but yeah, it was because of the, like the moon race between them and Russia. It was just like this massive thing, just like see who was going to put a man on the moon first. That was going on for a long time.
But I think.
And I guess the conspiracists would say that America wanted to make it out like they got there first, and that they're
Yeah,
like
but
the
it's even a conspiracy theory.
more powerful country.
I mean, isn't it just like agreed and like proven that that's happened now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, most of the most commonly used conspiracy arguments have been pretty much just flat out debunked, and it's
like we have cameras on
it's quite
Mars.
an old, it's a fairly old conspiracy theory, but it's still a good one.
We have remote control cars on Mars which are sending pictures back, and you're thinking we can't put a man on the fucking neighbor like the moon?
Well, they would probably, I mean, the real hardcore ones would probably continue that theory to apply to all our robots and shit that are on Mars, like. But yeah, so what of the arguments have you seen, and what do you think of them?
I've heard the one where they're like, if there's no gravity or wind on the moon, then why
Can you just
is
use that
the
voice
flag
permanently?
still waving?
Yeah.
Why does the flag wave if there's no wind?
Do you know why it does?
Yes, I know why that does. I'm not a fucking dumb little bitch, Andrew. I'm a fucking boss, okay? Science is my thing. I know all about science. Nigga, fuck you, right? When they put the flag down, it started waving about, and because there's no friction on the moon, it doesn't stop. Nigga,
Yes.
suck mad.
Well done.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So there was a
let's
spring.
go back
There
to
was
my
a
dumb little
spring.
voice.
The spring in the flag, and it was making it vibrate, and then no air resistance. Means it never stopped.
Yeah, man.
What are the other ones? There's the one about the shadows. You know the one about the shadows?
I'm not sure about that.
There's one of the pictures that they took.
Wait, stop. Do the voice.
No, I'm not gonna do it.
Have to do the voice.
I know.
Everyone wants the voice.
It's only good when it comes from you.
Aw.
But yeah, anyway. So one of the pictures they took of the astronauts, there's like shadows, but the shadows look really weird. Like there's like two shadows or something like that going in different directions, and the conspiracists say oh, this is because they're using studio lighting and all that kind of shit.
Oh, I've heard that one. Can't remember.
The actual explanation is something to do with parallax. I can't remember the exact details, but it's basically just parallax.
That's fair enough. Okay, what about that one? How comes? Sorry. When I show the footage of the astronaut, you can see a reflection of a camera in his helmet.
Yeah, because they had. Wait, is this the one? Oh, the one with the reflection. Yeah.
Some shit about reflections.
Yeah, no, there was one. I can't actually remember the details of that one. Of what the argument is to
I'm
begin
not
with.
sure either. Who the fuck is this?
I don't know,
Who?
some bitch.
Who the fuck are you? Get out.
You're the most toxic player in the world. Wow.
And what? Say it to my face.
Shit, they're not even doing anything, they're just standing there. Oh my god. Okay, anyway, what are the other ones about the moon? I'm trying to
About
think.
the moon landing?
I'm trying to think. Those are like the main ones I can
When
think
there's some
of.
like the footprints are like too visible or something. Or
Oh yeah, it was something to do with the footbridge, wasn't it? I have a feeling that was...
No, they were saying if there's no gravity, right? There's no weight behind you to like leave a footprint. But the answer to that
something like that. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Okay, wait. Let me ignore him. He's a. Don't act like we're friends. Anyway. Oh, he thinks I'm really mean. I'm not. He's just on our map.
No, but you are.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay. How comes if there's no gravity on the moon?
Jeez.
Fuck, I don't sound like an idiot anymore. I just sound retarded. Let me go back.
Point?
Okay, maybe. I'm just trying to sound like some dumbass conspiracy theorist, you know?
Yeah.
How comes if there's no gravity on the moon that there were footprints in the earth or in the ground when there's not much weight to leave giant footprints in the ground? Well, listen here, you little shit.
Isn't
right?
it just a dust or something?
Yeah, it's
It's
just
a dust, yeah.
years of space dust has just like gone onto the moon because there's no air or shit to like brush it away.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
not high gravity to like pound it down and densify it or whatever.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
loads of dust, like walking on a marshmallow, isn't it, man?
Yeah, exactly.
And dumb little shits.
I think that's pretty much all the main ones for the moon landing.
How
think
come you say you can get to the moon when I don't know.
I mean, I think there's some like more like in detail ones about like the rocket ship and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's some really like analytical stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, like the fundamental like counter argument to all of them is that surely that if it was to be staged, they wouldn't be dumb enough to leave these kind of things in, right?
Yeah,
like if they were going to stage something that big and that like world changing, they wouldn't like make such dumb mistakes. Do you know what I mean?
And like, regardless of how like if it was fake or not, right? They would have had to make a working rocket because people saw it launch and saw it go into the sky, right? So you're telling me they would make a working spaceship to fucking send nothing to the moon?
Well, I mean, I guess they could have like made it. I mean, because they have like they had like satellites and shit. They could have just made like a glorified satellite and not actually put anyone in it.
I just think it's dumb. But like, what is like the main like? I don't get what the point is. I would understand if they were like, oh, we managed to get a rocket up into the next galaxy. You know what I mean? And then you'd be like, bullshit. But like, it's just the moon. I'm pretty sure if someone was hench enough, they could jump to the moon. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Why is it so unbelievable for some people? You could build a ladder to the moon if you really wanted. Like, it ain't that far.
Well, no, you couldn't.
Yeah, you could. No,
I don't think there's any material that could support its own weight like that.
No, there's a video by Vsauce about it, about how like, no matter
I saw
how
it.
it is, like, yeah, it's kind of confusing because like the gravity levels change if you had a pole, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, anyway, that's like a different. So, what's the next conspiracy theory? Let me think. I guess the next one would be the 9/11.
All right.
So,
I don't know 9/11, so you'll have to hit me up with information here. I know that some buildings got destroyed. I know that America's kind of sensitive about it.
yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, so the main like the conspiracy theorist argument is that it was like a government. It was like an inside job. It wasn't actually done by terrorists. That it
Why
was
would they
all,
want
like
to do it? What would be the
pre-organized. Sorry.
would be the benefit to it?
People. I'm a bit like, I think there's a lot of different like reasons people give. I think one of them is like the idea of controlling a nation with fear.
Yeah.
So you know, the idea is of like George Bush being, excuse me, George Bush being you know, behind the whole like whole Trade Center suicide bombing thing. So in order to like make everyone in America think that there's like this terrorist threat, in order for them to sort of rally behind him and like trust in the government even more, if that makes sense. Because if everyone has like one enemy that they're fighting for, then it's really easy to, that they're afraid of as well. It's really easy to rally people up to get them to do pretty much whatever you want. You know what I mean? And you can do things behind their back, like, you know, like raising taxes, whatever the fuck you want, without them noticing.
Was 9/11 a terrorism act?
Yeah, it was.
Now say you're a terrorist organization.
It was a plane.
Say you're a terrorist organization, right? And then somebody blows up the World Trade Center. And then they claim it's America. Would you just not?
What do you mean?
Like, say you done it, and then somebody else claimed it wasn't you.
It was an inside job, right?
Would you not just be like, guys, come on, guys?
It was me.
It was me.
I don't know.
It's like when somebody, like, you tell a joke to someone, and then you go to a party, and then 5 minutes later they're like telling your joke to other people. You're like, that's my fucking joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You want to feel proud of your.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah. I don't know. I mean.
Because the point of terrorism is to make people scared of you, and if you do terrorism to make somebody scared of America, even though you know you're like against America, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean the thing is, like, if you what was I gonna say? Fuck, I've lost my train of thought now. Thanks.
Good job.
But yeah, that's like the main. And there's like people who like watch the video of it, and like analyze like, oh, when the plane impacts, there's like this explosion in the tower over here when it should have actually been over here, and they like analyze like the structure of the tower and like, oh, it shouldn't have collapsed like this. You know, the only way
I would say that's dumb, but I think that should be done on anything big like that. But like by the police or like
yeah, exactly.
Not by like people in their basements or whatever.
Yeah, which is mostly what it is really. And there's some like people suggesting that there's like a second airplane in the background, and I don't know. There's loads of shit. There's some suggestion. There's like, because like after it happens, they were like just interviewing like people on the street and shit, and there's some suggestions that like some of them were actors and, you know, all this kind of shit.
I think that's a bit dumb.
I don't know. It's an interesting one because it's such a like massive thing that like shook the world up so much.
Yeah, but I would hate to think that people are that evil. Not from like the terrorism side. I understand terrorism, but I hate to think that like somebody could like run a country, have people trust him or whatever, and then like blow, you know, like do shit like that.
Right? Yeah. It's funny, and it's like, how can you like, after watching George Bush for so long, how can you assume that man is even like as half as intelligent as he would need to be to like can orchestrate something like that? Jesus Christ!
I don't.
I mean, okay, I suppose you could say like, oh, he was just putting on an act, but yeah, he was notorious for being really stupid.
So how did he like really become president? Just had like good backers or something.
Yeah, he had like yeah, basically, pretty much.
Can I do one?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so what about people who are like, the world is against us, like society is just how people want you to be, like people who are like against medicine, people who, you know, just for no reason. They just think the world is out to get them, you know, like, oh, like I've had people say to me like, oh, medicine cures you like a little bit, but then it makes you really sick later on, and you know, like, you know, medicine gives you cancer and stuff like that, just like weird stuff like that.
It's quite a broad thing. I mean, it's not really like.
It's like people have like a conspiracy theory against like modern life. Sometimes.
I guess so. Yeah.
You know, thinking that like things about money or whatever, or like, you know, that you're just like a pawn to like the big guys, which is somewhat true, but it's like, why are you gonna like, just because, say, it's like to do with the Illuminati.
Well, I was literally just about to say, yeah, this ties into the Illuminati. I mean,
some people are like, oh, the Illuminati are like controlling everything or whatever, right? But that's kind of irrelevant. If you're like enjoying your life and you don't like notice anyone like actively changing something of your life, then what does it matter?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I find it a bit weird that people can have that like level of, I don't know what the right word is. I guess like mistrust in just like humanity as a whole. I can understand people that like don't agree with like capitalism or whatever because of this and this, and because of how flawed it is, and it is in some ways. But when they take it to like the extent where it's like the entire like civilized like world is you know against itself in a way, it seems a bit, I don't know, it just takes it a bit too far, I think.
I'm starting to wonder as well, right? Why are almost like, in my mind, almost all conspiracy theorists either like, you know, if you're a conspiracy theorist, why does it like become their life, and why do they like it's so conspiracy theory? You know, like why doesn't anyone just think, I think the 9/11 was faked, and then get on with their life? Why does like all?
I think a lot of people do think that. It's just the ones that dedicate their life to it are much more vocal about it, so those are the ones you hear about.
For real?
Yeah, I think that's the way.
I think people like kind of consider conspiracy theorists to be like kind of batshit crazy, but then if there's loads of people
because of that though, because like I think it's the same thing with any sort of like controversial like view or any sort of doctrine. I mean, even religion to some degree, but not anywhere near to the same degree. The loudest voices are the ones that get extrapolated to the rest of the community, if that makes sense. I'm sure there are plenty of people in America who believe that, you know, 9/11 was an inside job, but they just keep quiet about it because they don't feel the need to evangelize about it all the time. But it's because of a certain few that like are so obsessed about it and think it's so important to the world.
Okay, so generally
that it makes it sound like that's what everyone thinks.
Generally, do you think it's like important to even have conspiracy theories, or do you think like everyone should just forget about them? Like, has having a conspiracy theory ever like changed anything?
I don't think so. I mean, the only thing you can say is that it makes people think about things in a more like critical way.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's good because when like loads of conspiracy theories emerge, then loads of all the counter conspiracy theorists come out and actually, you know, try and actually prove things logically and using like actual evidence and facts, which is a good thing for sure, because it makes people like actually understand like why things happened or how they happened or whatever. I don't know. I don't think it's like that bad, but I think it does.
Okay.
It's just I just think it's one of those things that holds back the human race like a little bit from like, you know, like becoming more sort of intellectually like advanced.
I think it shows like a basic distrust to think that conspiracy theorists.
I don't even know if it's not even the basic distrust that like bothers me the most, but it's more just like the refusal to seek out evidence for yourself. People just seem too willing to you know believe what they're told or what they read based on just a few like shambles bits of video or whatever, or just a bit of hearsay, or you know talking around the campfire.
Yeah, I find that weird because like sometimes I can read like an article and be like, that's not right, but for some reason I almost believe anything like somebody tells me via like word of mouth.
That's the thing. Word of mouth is, as long as it comes from the right person, can be extremely easy to believe. Because there's like a more level of trust if it's someone you know well, you know.
But sometimes I just think like I'm spreading shit which I don't know. Like sometimes I just say something like a fact and it's just something I've only like the only time I heard of this thing was from a friend, and it's like, is that valid enough research to back it up? It's not at all. Like, anytime a friend of mine says anything, I should research it and just be like, are you right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or are you bullshitting me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like that's ideally the best thing to do. Really, is to actually research things and make your own mind up about things. And I mean, hey, if you do loads of research, like fair, balanced research from like good sources, and you still think that, I don't know, like the moon landing was faked or whatever, then I mean, you know, that's fair enough. Like, I respect that. But if you just, you know, actually, to be honest, it's the same the other way around. If you just say like, oh no, the moon landing was real, it happened, but
research
you
to understand
just do it.
why.
You only say that because someone told you that you know.
Yeah.
In a way, that's almost as bad, really. Well, it is as bad fundamentally, from a fundamental point of view.
Yeah, it's the same thing, really.
Um,
Okay, so what are your thoughts towards people who just like follow the crowd? Because obviously, if there is a crowd, then that happens, and there is, you know.
Well, that's the definition of a crowd, isn't it? Really.
But yeah, I mean, this isn't really like conspiracy theories. I guess it ties to like Illuminati type stuff. But I mean, how do you feel about people who do that? Because everyone does it to some degree.
Yeah, for sure. It's a pretty.
I think
it's like a very natural thing.
Of like wanting to fit in.
I think there's a lot. Right. I think there's probably quite a lot of reasons behind it. I think that's definitely one of them. I think it's quite like I have a feeling it's quite a natural human instinct as well to like
congregate and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. To want to be like a part of a sort of like a larger group. Partly just for the betterment of the species, you know, like the whole strength in numbers type thing.
Do you ever feel like sometimes like some people like they can be happy and like living a good life, but do you ever feel sad that sometimes people can be so ignorant as that they're like just one of the sheep, or they're just living a life which like they haven't really chosen it? Like you can see that they're going down a path which is like just predetermined by like nurture and culture. Do you ever feel that like, you know, what you said about like the moon landing is that people could like hear it and just say, yeah, that's right, but they haven't done research.
Yeah.
I think that some people live and they're just like, yeah, I'm gonna live like this, but they haven't done research to decide if they actually really like deeply want to or not. Some people are just like, oh, I have to get a job, I have to go to uni, then I have to find a wife. Or,
no, absolutely. No, I think I mean, I think about this a lot, and I think it's one of the greatest tragedies of like the modern developed world, is that I suppose it's one of the arguments against capitalism as well to some degree, but there is a very much it ties in quite a lot with education, I think, as well to some degree, but there is very much like almost like a conveyor belt image in society now that people are expected, depending on like where you're from maybe, and where you're like who you were brought up with.
I don't really think it's possible to get rid of that though.
Then you are expected to lead a certain life and take certain, you know, roads, which is actually really quite sad, I think.
Well, it's sad from an outsider's perspective, but not from their perspective.
Well, that's It's
like ignorance, this kind of thing.
In some cases, I think you're right.
Do you think anything could feel worse than like being ignorant your whole life? Like, say, okay, I don't mean like religious people are ignorant, but I mean like say you were religious your whole life, and then you're like 99, and like 10 minutes before you die, somebody like disproves it 100%, and you're like, okay, I'm not religious, and then you've just like in your mind just wasted like a whole lifetime worth of beliefs. Like, do you think that would be like the worst feeling possible or not? Like like brain of like I don't mean like
idea.
Because that's why I'm so determined to like live the life I want to, rather than being a sheep, because I don't want to have any regrets.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a tough one. I guess so. I mean, that's so hard to like imagine what it would be like, though. Really.
But you know, a lot of people must have gone through that.
Some.
Because that's like this when you know, like if you're lucky enough or unlucky enough to die like in a hospital bed over like a little bit of time, that's probably when you do like most life thinking and stuff, do you know?
I guess so. I don't know, it's a bit of a grey area for me, really. I don't really know much about that kind of. I mean,
that's fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
See, I don't know. I think it's just the worst kind of thing. Like, I'd hate just the thought of like somebody feeling like complete regret just before they died. Like they're happy, then no, everything's on its head, and then they die. For me, like just like it makes me cringe just thinking about it a little bit.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean for sure. It is like, it's quite worrying.
So that's why I would like want to say like, make sure you're not living ignorantly to like the general public. But there's nothing wrong with living ignorantly. I don't know why I want to say it, but I do.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? Because on the one hand, you don't want to like rob people of the sort of temporary relief or pleasure or happiness that they get from believing X, Y, and Z. But at the same time, you kind of want people to live a bit more like fulfilled, I guess would be the only words. I'm getting mad lags.
For real?
Like FPS lags.
We could have like a short episode today and just stop. We're at 25 minutes, or we could do one more conspiracy.
No, it's alright. Yeah, what was the other one I was going to do? We did the moon landing, we did 9/11.
I think
I guess
X Factor is rigged.
That's not a fucking conspiracy theory, dude.
No, but I've like thought of like evidence as to like why it's true and stuff.
It might well be and it might not, and to be honest I couldn't give like less of two shits whether it is or not.
I give less than 2 shits.
I give less than
one shit.
I give a half.
I give a fraction of a shit.
It's true though, like it doesn't matter to me at all.
How can you say that though? Because like, although it's like
the only reason it matters to me,
like sheep, it's like a dumb sheep program.
The reason it matters to me, actually, I tell a lie, it does matter to me. The reason it matters to me is because I find it sad and depressing and it just makes me want to like punch someone every time I watch it.
But like, say something is like bad and you're like, okay, this is dumb. Why does anyone like this, right? And say you can say the same about like terrorism. Terrorism is dumb. Why does anyone do this? It's terrible to hurt people or do any of this stuff, right? Same thing. But with one, you're like, oh, that's dumb, so it's okay to ignore it. Whereas the other one, you're like, that's dangerous, so I shouldn't ignore it. But both of them affect millions of people because X Factor is like national, right? So why is it why is one more important than the other? In my eyes, I'm concerned that interested that, this is probably the most watched show like in the world. Millions of people all over the world watching. And it's amazing that Simon Cowell can have like that many people just on like a hook. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's an incredible feat of marketing for sure and production value to have gained that much popularity. It's very clever business wise, but I just even just from from the point of view of the music industry, I just think it's so sad that it promotes this image of quick success. And I think if it continues the way it's going, future generations of not like everyone, but a large majority of children will have that image that if you want to become a successful musician, you have to do it either overnight or not at all. And people will forget the value of hard work and doing something that you enjoy over a long period of time.
It's kind of a shame, isn't it? But I think that is very much how the world is going. I think that is what's happening.
I know, and I wish there was I don't know, I wish there was something I could do about it, but I don't think there is.
I mean, because we've got like Vines and stuff, and because information is coming to us quicker.
Exactly,
right?
Everyone wants
this whole quick entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. It's this whole I mean, the internet and technology is great. It's one of the greatest things there is, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword because the sort of side effect, if you want, or the downside of it is pretty big as well. That it just promotes this culture of everything being instant and instant gratification.
Yeah, I wonder how far that'll go, because you can imagine in like 200 years, say the X Factor. You know how they give like 5 minutes per single or whatever?
Yeah.
In like 200 years, if it's still on, it could literally be like, oh, let's get 1 million people lined up here and then you get 5 seconds each. Or, you know what I mean?
Well, actually, having said that, have you seen The Voice?
No.
because The Voice is not as popular, but I actually think it's even worse for this than the X Factor.
But really?
Because
everyone was saying like The Voice was like the honest X Factor, or like, you know, the true music.
That's how it's marketed. That's how it's marketed. Yeah, and I can see where they're coming from, and it does have some merits to it for sure. But I think at its core, it's actually potentially worse. I mean, it's less of like the whole drama hyped up thing. But if you've never seen it before, basically what happens is the singer comes onto the stage, but all the judges have their backs turned, and so they start singing. And
that's rude.
As soon as they think, you know, so basically the idea is that they do it just based on the voice, not on their appearance or whatever. Which, I mean, okay, that's fair enough, and that in itself is a decent thing to be putting across. But
that's a little bit dumb though, because like
the way they do it is like, you know, if they like hear the voice and they like it, then it's much more quick. It's much more quick. Like they make their judgment much more quickly based on what they hear straight away within the first few seconds. And I don't know, it's just so fucking. Oh, it's horrible. I don't like it at all.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? I think I don't really like the whole thing, like they're turned away, because I think appearance is a big part of it, and I think you are just like sort of preying on like old fags if you ignore the fact that like appearance is almost everything in media now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess some people would argue that it shouldn't be. I don't know. It's a tricky one. I can see why people think it's like better, but I think it's just as bad, if not worse, to be honest.
Yeah, man. All right, so we're 30 minutes in. Let's end it here.
Yep.
I have my next topic, and I'm quite looking forward to it. This would be really interesting. Okay, guess what it is? You guessed wrong, sucker. Anyway.
I love if it was actually Pokemon.
Did you actually say Pokemon?
Yeah.
You said Pokemon?
Yeah.
Oh my, no, it's not Pokemon. Anyway.
Imagine if it was. I would have fucking cried.
Tomorrow, I want to talk about bucket lists.
Okay.
And like / quality of life.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Alright.
Get your gumdrops.
I'm Nextrous.
I'm the filthiest casual in town.
It's actually true. I can verify that one.
Of all the casuals there are, I am the filthiest.
See you guys on the next episode.